Welcome to the Sonoma County Groundwater Data Dashboard orientation. In this video, we are going to show you how to use the Data Hub, which is a tool to view and interact with groundwater data in all three of our subbasins. The Data Dashboard allows users to view and interact with both current and historical groundwater level measurements and groundwater levels over time. Users can interact with data from Sonoma Valley, Santa Rosa Plain, and Petaluma Valley in one place. The dashboard also displays areas where more data is needed. These data gap areas are the focus of our Level Up voluntary well monitoring program. If you have a well within one of these areas, you can help by enrolling in the program. When you arrive to the data dashboard, you will see a map of all three subbasins as I'm showing here. The Hub has a section for each subbasin to allow users to see groundwater levels, compare them to stream gauges, view the monitoring network, and see the location of data gaps. To access each of the subbasins' data, you can either click the buttons on the bottom of the map, as I'm showing here, click on the subbasin name in the header to go to the page, as I'm showing here, or click the drop-down arrow next to the subbasin name to go directly to the data dashboard you desire. Users can also submit their voluntary well data for the Level Up program on the right side of the header as shown here. When you click one of the subbasins, it will lead you to this page, which provides links and descriptions for each available data dashboard. You can choose between 4 data dashboards: groundwater levels, data gap areas, combined surface and groundwater levels, and representative monitoring points. On the bottom, you will see that there is a 5th placeholder for groundwater level change over time, which is not available yet, and therefore not an option under the drop-down menu. If you choose to view the data gap areas, you will be taken to a map showing the areas in need. The green figures show the data gap areas. If you have a well in these areas and are willing to participate in the voluntary data submission program, please click the link on the top right to be taken to a form. The volunteer groundwater level reporting form looks like this. Registered participants in the Level Up voluntary well monitoring program fill out this form 2 times a year with well water level information. The form is filled out in April and October. Next, we will explore groundwater levels. Before we begin exploring groundwater levels, please note the following symbols. A green star represents a high-frequency, shallow aquifer well, while a blue star represents a high-frequency, deep aquifer well. A green dot represents a shallow aquifer well, and a blue dot represents a deep aquifer well. Pink lines represent groundwater basin boundaries. Please also note the difference between groundwater elevation and depth to water. Groundwater elevation is how high the water is underground, usually compared to sea level. It shows where the water table is, which is the top layer of water-filled ground. Depth to water is how far you have to dig from the ground surface to reach the water table. This depth can vary based on factors like topography, precipitation, and geological conditions. Essentially, as the land surface elevation increases, the depth to water generally increases as well. Therefore, groundwater elevation and depth to water are inversely related. Higher groundwater elevation means a shallower depth to water and vice versa. To view groundwater levels, click here, and you will be taken to a 3-panel screen. Please note it sometimes takes a moment to load. The space on the left is for hydrographs. The map is in the middle and the legend is on the right. Please note that you can change the size of these panels by dragging their borders. You can also zoom in on the map or use this magnifying glass to type in an address and see a specific location. Please note on the top left, you can choose between a single well and comparing multiple wells in the hydrograph. In the Layers legend, you can also turn on the data gap areas to see how these areas overlap with existing wells. When you click on a well, you will see a hydrograph load on the left. Please note this sometimes takes a few minutes. In the map, you will find additional information about the well. You can also click Open Hydrograph in New Window to do so. The blue arrow at the bottom will open a table of data for wells. The blue arrow in the hydrograph will expand this window to show a larger hydrograph. To combine multiple wells into a single hydrograph, click here. A how-to guide on the left shows you the information I'm about to share. Zoom in to the area that you'd like to compare. Use this Select tool to select multiple wells. You can tell they are selected when they are outlined in pink. Then go back to the panel on the left and select a period of interest. The hydrograph will populate. Please note that this sometimes takes several minutes. This is an example of how the multiple well hydrograph will look once the wells and period of interest are selected. You can see this legend on the right showing which well is which in the hydrograph. You can adjust your period of interest by clicking into these buttons to change it. You can also adjust this groundwater level bar so that you may change your y-axis. You can include additional filters by clicking here and selecting filters. You can launch the Combined Surface and Groundwater Levels dashboard here. Please note it sometimes takes several minutes to load. This dashboard shows groundwater elevation compared to stream bed elevation by comparing stream gauges and groundwater wells that are adjacent to each other. This allows users to see how groundwater and surface water may be influenced by or interact with each other. On the top, you can switch between a dynamic y-axis, which will change so that you can see it best on the hydrograph, and a fixed y-axis, which will stay the same to allow you to compare between different graphs. Additionally, please note the difference between a wet and dry year. A wet water year is when there is more rainfall and snowmelt than usual, leading to higher water levels in rivers, lakes, and reservoirs. This typically results in more available water for various uses, such as agriculture, drinking water, and hydropower. A dry water year, on the other hand, has less rainfall and snowmelt than average, causing lower water levels in water bodies. This can lead to water shortages, restrictions on water use, and increased risk of drought conditions. In summary, a wet water year means more water is available, while a dry water year means less water is available. The dashboard also allows users to look at RMPs. Representative monitoring points, also known as RMPs, are wells that help assess the groundwater and surface water conditions in the basin. When water levels are below the thresholds assigned to each RMP, the basin would be considered to be experiencing undesirable results. Groundwater level RMPs represent groundwater level measurements. Interconnected surface water RMPs represent measurements where surface water and groundwater are hydraulically connected. Similarly to the other dashboards, you can expand and move these panels by dragging them. This dashboard has two options. Users can look at groundwater level RMPs or interconnected surface water RMPs. On either dashboard, users can select a well to see its hydrographs. You can also click on the blue arrow on the bottom of the screen to display well data. Thank you for attending the Sonoma County Groundwater Data Dashboard orientation.